Welcome to Gas, Poetry, Art, and Music. I'm your host, Belinda Subraman. You know what? You strike me as someone who's been in theater. Is that true?
It is true. I was a juggler for 22 years or more.
Literally juggling?
Literally juggling. I was, quote, a professional juggler. It's how I made my living for all those years. And that got me into a bunch of vaudeville and, avant-garde kind of theater stuff also. And then there was a troupe that I was in that was called Thin Ice, that we did a lot of kind of political theater. And I definitely trained with a couple of people that were pretty intensely in terms of theater. And I noticed that when I went to writings and stuff that, or readings, that it took me just a little bit to realize, oh, writers don't have any stagecraft. And, they come from their room and they've been writing and they're afraid of the mic. They don't even know how to fix the mic. They don't, and they think they're just reading their poem. And it's like, no, you're getting in front of a crowd. You're taking a stage. I had one example when I was in Austin, Texas. There was this guy that everybody loved at the festival. He was like one of the features, and people loved his poetry. And the first night he read, and no one recognized it was him because he was reading so bad.
Huh.
And then he watched me and this woman, Tantra, and a couple other people over the 4 days. And he approached us at one point and he said, "Hey, would you read my stuff? I want to check out something, So he gave us each a poem. We read it, said to the crowd that it was his, got, pretty good responses from all of us. And then after we were done, we were sitting and he told the organizers and he said, "Okay, well, that solved it for me." And we were like, "What?" I'm not going to read ever. I freak out too much. People like my books. My books are selling. I see it's a whole other craft. I don't have time to think about it, or I don't want to do it. And so I'm not going to torture myself. And I can see how bad it went. It's going to hurt me more than it's going to help me. So that was interesting in terms of that clarified to me that, I would always bring it up. Have you thought about what it means to be on a stage? I mean, it seems like you play music, right? So you've always incorporated a bunch of different arts, or no?
No, I'm one of those and not really into the performance part very much.
Oh, okay.
But everybody's got their strengths.
Yes.
And if you're going to present it to the public, I think you should realize you're a performer.
Yes.
And put something into it. And
yes.
if you recognize you are not a performer, I think it's just fine not to do it. And just,
I do too. It's kind of the middle ground where you don't want to acknowledge that it's a performance and then keep wondering why no one is responding to you.
Right.
And you have to go, well, it was kind of a boring reading, or you didn't speak into the mic, or you didn't, some very simple things sometimes.
Yeah, I think to sit on a Zoom with 20 poets and most 19 of them are horrible. I mean, they might have good words if you're sitting down and reading a page. Okay, it's one thing. But if you're waiting and waiting because you don't want to be rude and you feel like you must sit through it all and it's so badly done, I think that it's just fine not to want to do that,
Well, I'm wondering, I had to do an interview yesterday, actually, and this came up, and we were talking about, will Zoom actually help improve poetry readings in the future? Because you really do notice, you come on to one Zoom, the writers come on, boom, they're on, they read, they're off. The next one, boom, it moves, you're there. It's like, wow, they have backgrounds, they have something else they're doing. And then you said, like the others, it comes on and, well, let me see, and I'm not sure, and then they can't hear them, and then they're talking, they went, oh yeah, and you're like, what's going on, and then you can see everybody's leaving, they're not getting in, the other people are falling asleep, and I know that most people, and people have said this to me, oh man, I went back and looked at my Zoom reading, and wow, I didn't realize, and it's like, oh, well, that's really good because us theater people always used video. So I was always looking at video to go, what am I doing with my hands? And what is going on over there? I got to stop that. Or just in even my expressions, I would sometimes think, I was like, ah, and then I look at the video and I was like, oh, okay, I got to crank up that emotion. I
Yeah.
thought I was really going for it. And no, that's what I was doing. It wasn't much coming out.
Well, you strike me as being very comfortable on stage, and you make it look real easy because you're comfortable, I guess, and you have sort of a subdued snarkiness, I think, or something.
Well, I'm glad you noticed. No, it's true. Well, I was telling someone the other day, they were asking me something, this young performer. It was kind of interesting. Somebody from Facebook, watching my videos. He said, can I call you? And I was like, yeah, okay. And he said, I hope you don't feel like I'm being ageist, but you're older than me. And I want to talk to you about, my performing and your performing. And I was like, yeah, okay. And cool. And we're talking. And all of a sudden I said to him, well, there isn't any training in the studio for being on the stage. You have to go hit stages, hit 50 stages, hit up 500 stages. Okay. Now maybe at 800 stages, everything that maybe could have happened to you on stage has now happened. Yeah. So you're not now what might freak somebody else out who's never been on a stage and suddenly the mic isn't working or the stand falls down or who knows what. But you pick it up and you do whatever you need to do because you've seen it all and you're there to perform. You're kind of, it's not feeling awkward being on the stage.
Right.
There's no training for that. You have to just keep getting up on that stage and feel the nervousness and feel this and feel that and, try to figure out, okay, what am I doing now,
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen just a straight reading from you without a band, so I'm sure you perform just as well without the band.
Okay, well, actually, they're right here. Come on in, guys. Oh, no.
Well, that's okay, too.
Yeah, I was going to try to figure out how to set that up or say, here, let me share my screen. I have some other pieces. But then I thought, no, it's always good to just read in terms of reading. So that's kind of it,
Okay.
You want me to read? Is that what you want me to read now?
Sure.
Okay. So I kind of picked out two. I think you said that. They said two. So this is from my new book. It's called The 24-Hour Store That Was Closed. We had them in Buffalo, New York, by the way. Other people had 7-Elevens and all these other kinds of stores that were considered the 24-hour stores. We actually had corner stores owned by individuals because the bars were open till 4 o'clock. So we had these stores that were open for 24 hours. You could buy birth control and milk in case you need them in the night. You know what I mean? But I've always had the title in my head, so I always wanted to use it. But anyway, so this is from that book called The 24-Hour Store Is Closed. It's called How to Order Pizza Romantically. Violin music, like in the movies, violin players standing around the table, a romantic dinner as the lovers gaze into each other's eyes. Actually, there were no violin players. You could put a quarter in the machine, a speaker at the table. Want-to-be lovers came here after the bars closed. It was rumored that the owner made all their money from all those quarters people kept putting in to play the violin music. We are staring into each other's eyes while the fake violin music is playing, wondering who was going to give in. Were we getting the pizza with the anchovies and the artichokes, or were we getting the pizza with the fresh mozzarella and the roasted tomatoes? This doesn't seem to happen in the movies. Everything just flows along. Lovers want the same thing, not stuck with each of us wanting something different. This decision was blocking out the violin music. This was not looking good for posing the question, will we be lovers tonight? There really should be more romantic ways of ordering a pizza. So he said, anchovies and artichokes kind of give me gas. Let's go with your favorite pizza. that you want. She contained herself from bursting out laughing, for she saw this as a lame attempt at being romantic. She hated getting gifts with the obvious hopes of making love. She hated that there wasn't going to be a fight, since she's really into makeup sex. Now that it was clear there was not going to be any sex, she decided she was going to fight anyways. Asking him how he could be so tasteless to destroy a pizza with anchovies and artichokes. The fight raged on until the waiter arrived. They ordered separate dishes that they were both disappointed with. On arriving home, she went to bed saying she had a headache. He stayed up late on his computer researching how to make pizza ordering more romantic, which led him to finding some site where he could watch naked women making pizzas with anchovies and artichokes, and he felt vindicated. And the second one is called Mother Truckers. On this Mother's Day, I'd like to call out all the mother truckers. They know who they are. They're the mothers who drive trucks and give mothers who drive trucks a bad name. Mother truckers will just drive right over you. Mother truckers, mothers who drive trucks, deliver comfort and safety. Mother truckers believe they are the only ones who count, where mothers who drive trucks have everyone pile in. Mother truckers seem to have a death wish, for they never seem to stop unless they are stopped for good. Mothers who drive trucks bring everybody together, make sure everyone is heard, and the ones who aren't mother truckers will help take care of everyone. If you're out on the road, give a little tip of the hat when you see a mother driving a truck, but be careful if you run into one of those mother truckers.
Okay. A lot of humor in your poetry too.
I try to, though, this time period. Well, have you seen the most recent ones, the videos? It's hard to figure out where the humor is in this, what's going on today.
Oh, man. Okay.
And so, and it's a little tricky. I don't know how, when you, because then people see me and they go, oh, Ro, good, he's funny. And it's like, well, actually, I'm going to talk about my dog dying, but okay. Or, it's, you don't want to fall into something, but also I do try to find the humor to keep myself going or find something in situations. So I guess I do try to bring that out in my writing one way or the other, the hope maybe, or this is going to pass, but also, still taking in the feelings of whatever it is, the disappointment, the hurt, the absurdity.
Right. You could go through all of that in one piece too.
Yes, that's right.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your poetry, and I'm a big fan,
Thank you for having me on. Thanks.
All
yes.
right. So you're in London, Ontario. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. So I saw on your Facebook where you said you were available to be an emotional support Canadian.
That's me. I'm actually an American by birth. I moved up here in 2009 to be with a lady and stayed up here and became a Canadian citizen. And my children are still down in America, unfortunately, and watching the election very closely.
Uh-huh. Yeah, day 3. So,
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Are you teaching college presently?
Yes, I am. I'm an anthropologist and I teach at university level, but I teach through New Jersey State universities from up here online. So I teach at Montclair University in New Jersey and Ramapo and college and also William Patterson University. So I concentrated on Ramapo, New Jersey for several years and collected a lot of information. And so Song of Ramapo came out, and it's actually something that's ongoing. It was my first book, and it's about a place, and actually from that group of poems grew a college course called The Ecology of Place, and that has students picking a place of their own. It could be a mountain range, it could be a backyard, and they have to research everything about that place: geology, the biology, the human habitation, history, and kind of absorb it. And part of the project would be either a traditional project, or they could turn what they've consumed from this place into an art project. Could be a song, could be a dance, could be a story, could be a bunch of poems. And I've had some success with it. I've been teaching it. So from the idea of writing about a certain place, it actually grew into a college course. Okay, this is from Slip of the Tongue. This is the latest book, came out last summer. I have a friend who is far away, yet so near. I feel her right next to me, music pouring from my heart into mine, turning the vinegar of my life into wine. The sun is in high meridian, and the melting mountains swell the rivers to overflow. The cool air turns to haze. Once again, butterscotch days, when we all remember licking the dripping cone, the exact time Dad came home, our first loves, but especially the last ones. I'm not so sure what people have against Robert Frost. I'm comfortable with him. So comfortable, in fact, he's always with me. Morning, noon, night, office, car, class, potty, bed. Name the time and place, and he's always there, somehow always making sense. Just a minute, I can hear him now, just the other side of the fence.
Okay.
And then this is a favorite one. This is for a friend of mine. She's smiling right now. I'm not sure at what or with whom, but I always feel it when she does. I smile right along. Pretty soon it all fades away, and I'm left smiling alone.
Okay, Kenneth, thank you so much for sharing your poetry with us.
You're welcome.
All
My
right.
pleasure.
And I'll count you as one of my emotional support Canadians. Okay.
I'm here when you need me.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thanks for the opportunity.
When we met, it was October. I remember because that is the month that goes into double digits, and the birches start shedding their leaves, and the slender prongs of the rake twang like bluegrass music. It was Sunday. I remember because the wind had been blowing in my ear all morning, and the clanging of the bells had scraped the channel raw, and the tender afternoon was loud with the deep hum of your words. Your story was spices and metals I couldn't identify. Your story wandered like the veins on the back of your hand when you pressed my forearm for emphasis or help. Did you know I hardened to bear it? I was recast by the friction ridges of your fingertips, whirls that spin ever outward. Saga. I offer her the long line of my back because she has carved runes into her arms again. Make me the story, I tell her. My left ear an utterance of sea turtles, my left knee the ghost of our mother, brittle seashell. Filled with sand, my breast become a memory of her mouth's inarticulate gestures. She makes me. She makes me.
Has your profession of working around police and around elder abuse, has that impacted your poetry somehow?
Yeah, there's the two collections I have are have a lot of things that people thought were speculative, but they come right from work. And I worked some very complex cases. Some of them were famous. I'm not going to say which ones they were, but when I do fiction poetry, I can hide things in plain sight.
Right.
This would be the one that came out in 2019. Let's see, do we have it here? Soulless Heavens. And it's, let's see, these poems go back a few years. And I don't know, it's interesting. It's kind of in the tradition of Jack Spicer a little bit, who of course had was familiar with the grimoires and magical work, and wrote a lot. I think, what did he say? He was like taking in transmissions from Mars to get to his subconscious. So I've got a little of that. There's a lot of like folk horror in here. I did live in the South, and so it does have that Southern Gothic element. And then it does kind of cover where I moved into New England and just the whole situation with that move. It was, following a divorce and really wanting to change careers at a time that law enforcement just became untenable. And also working for people that I just didn't want to work for anymore. Like one of them somehow got elected governor of a Southern state. And, it's people like that I just wanted to really not associate with anymore. And so I'm able to tell those stories kind of in subversive ways in the poems.
Would you like to share a couple of those with us?
Well, sure. I think I'm going to read a new one that's in Boog City this month. A Lower East Side-based newspaper. It's been around some time. It's a little more fun, and it's their baseball edition. It's called Summer League. Our coach and sponsor got a great deal on our jerseys, which came back misprinted, and thus we were known that summer as the Penguins of Westland Hills. I asked and received number 1, Billy Martin's number. This made me feel very important, and I referred to myself as team manager as I manned second base. Coach owned a sleeping bag factory and drove us to practice in a mammoth Imperial. Neil Diamond on the stereo, nothing but Neil. We celebrated a winning season with a movie which our dads did not realize was rated R until a topless Jamie Lee Curtis strode onto the screen. You'd think a New York team would eat any place but Pizza Hut. They had Pac-Man and pitchers of soda. Like us, it was good enough for a summer league.
Okay. Do you happen to have one of your best COVID poems around?
My best COVID, I do. Let's see. I have one.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I've got one in here. This one was actually written before COVID, and it really does fit. Other ones are in my computer, which I guess I'm using now, which I could find if I need to, though. This one's called Nowhere Now Here. And it was published right before COVID hit, which is weird. We have traced our dying roots back to you from beyond the suffocating confines of your verdant lore. We are virus and angelic hosts. Lift up your hearts, or if you please, talismans and armaments. Still we come. We are all your captain cooks come at once. With your nose pressed to our deck, will you see our terrible ship? It stands in the poisoned lagoon, in the lifeless forest clearing, and your carport, where your fattened children play. Will you believe in the fullness of providence when at last we touch across sullied worlds from bleak firmaments? To trembling earths, will you believe? Thrones, many-eyed wheels turn in that space between thought and form. They sing, but not for glory. Each season brings a shocking new turn. You long for the flame that no longer burns. Something crunches underfoot your children's blackened bones. Snap dry, stinking fruit off branches, rest promises off spiny stalks, cutting palms, stigmata of the unfaithful. Feed the mouth that cries with balled up fist. In shame, you turn away from our face. Dying won't carry you off from this place. Avengers shall not pass over your homes, foundations laid with your children's bones. Reaching for answers we can't understand, grasping for branches that slice up our hands. Through spray of blood and broken tooth, thank you for this harvest. So, a little sad.
Yeah. I don't know whose computer. It could have been either one of ours. Somebody went.
What's that?
Somebody's computer dinged.
Oh yeah, I don't know how to make this thing stop. It's this MacBook. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Nice to hear from you again.
Sure.
And we'll see you again. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Take care.
This one's called Dust, Clouds, Dry Grass, and 90 miles an hour. Soon it will be summer. The sky will stay pink and the heat will grope my skin in the rank stink of every greasy alley where the grass is too delicately underfoot. And I will straddle a doorway, waiting for the street to be blue, waiting for the smell of lust and a wind that tastes of coconut, of wet plants and cigarettes. Sometime before the light is a hard gold slant from the east, sometime before the light is perfect for coffee, speed will find me in black and white with dual exhausts and the addiction of the oncoming road. Speed will find me grinning and stiff-kneed. Speed will find me, trying to erase the memory of your body from mine.
Invisible Journey, Last Night's Dream. We were on a bus to the airport, studying our fears. The world gave us crackers as we sought peace. We worried our plane tickets were in our suitcases, on their way to somewhere else. Then we were told we needed no fare for the plane where we would be. Then something I don't remember, and we're on a ship, feeling the liquid motion of the earth. We were calm, expecting to arrive. The moment came, and we were asked to cross a line and meet our greeters. As we looked up into our faces, we saw ourselves with new eyes, same hair, same skin. Aging. It would be nice to be philosophical about it all, the way the light hits the trees, or is it the way the trees diffuse the light? Perspective can only be seen from a distance, and then it's what angle or metaphor one employs. Light may be love, trees may be minds. Decades give, and take away, until all we have is a radiant, rich torture, shadows to study, smiles from nowhere, or stares, until all we have is how the light hits trees, or how the trees diffuse the light. The wells. The wall behind me, catcher of books, Lebkuchen tins, manuscripts, journals, pens. An alien holding a remote, a hand-tooled case made in prison, a rabbit whose head opens to reveal a chamber of butterflies, gifts from the now gone, baskets my father made, holding staples, clips, and tape. A Magritte print of water against the reality of sea. Albums, flash records of seconds over a lifetime. A collage of femininity and belief. A grandson with a foreign smile. A patient, now dead, fittingly against a sunset. An 80s hug goodbye. A daughter with fairy wings. I embrace what is gone, or is it what changes? I reach out to touch the wells of my life. I grasp only air, but hear rumors of angels.
When I were granite, I gobbled grain like a gannet. But now I'm alabaster millstone, I'm wheat and your chaff. You've all the class and gravitas of a gravel drive. You do languish in the garden centre, stranded amidst the water features. Yeah, your own albatross milestone to my progress because I'm alabaster. I'm alabaster. When I was sand, stone, I too built castles to the sea's more, and believe me when I say I don't like to gloat, but the tide turns and I have returned alabaster. Now you are the panicky picnicker's worst nightmare. You are the shameful reminding each other love is gritty amorous sandwich. Or you do chortle in your glass girdle as you put eggs to yolk. Emery Barter's finer work, sand blaster for you, scour graffiti from the walls of council estates. Whilst I greet visitors ensconced in the naves of noble estates. 'Cause I'm alabaster. I'm alabaster. bastard, but I'm not too good for you. You see, when I was slate, I cut wood with the best, but now I'm a bastard, you tool. We both get dug up, but my display case gets more footfall because I'm the belle of the museum ball from antique Greece to ancient Rome. Neoclassical exhibitions ensconced within gentry walls. No stone is so deified as me. Except, arguably, for that marvellous wannabe lap dancer of the Louvre. Now let me tell you something. When I were an aspirational plinth hopper, I were forced to kiss the bare soles of illegitimate pilgrims' feet. Now I gaze from cathedrals, vaulted peak at those poor bastards' balding pits and your stripy flooring. Where is your Michelangelo now? Kitchen work surface. Although I have no hands and therefore no might to smite back at those who may cause me contusions, and so be placed above me on the Mohs hardness scale of mineral hardness, that hierarchy you surely understand is wholly specious. Merely a man-made means of identification through discrimination, because I'm as hard as nails, mate. I work my way up through metamorphic force majeure and damned good looks. You can call it Deus Ex Machina. The strategy applied, one cannot deny that I have arrived. Although it's all for naught in the final analysis, isn't it? For aren't we all destined to be one part of that final post-apocalyptical, recombobulated cosmic molten gloop at the end of time and history? And yet, I reached the apogee, and you were pulp. And this is the way systemic oppression and privilege go. Establish the limits, set up the goals, so the house always wins. I didn't make the rules. I just cashed in.
Thank you for listening and watching Gas, Poetry, Art, and Music. If you'd like to encourage us, please subscribe to our channel, like, comment if you will, share, and tell your friends about our project. And we hope to see you next time.
Flowing through existence.